Some people want to change the world, others want to be worshipped by it. Elon Musk doesn't just build technology, he builds mythology. He positions himself not as a man, but as a mission, the savior of humanity, the protector of free speech, the architect of Mars. He doesn't talk like a CEO, he talks like a prophet, detached, visionary, necessary. He doesn't lead with empathy, he leads with inevitability, as if failure is irrelevant, because history has already written him in. He wants to save us from artificial intelligence even as he builds it. He warns us about extinction while selling us tickets to Mars. He says he's restoring freedom of speech by controlling the platform it lives on. This isn't just ambition. This is narrative control at a psychological level, a God complex dressed in engineering, a Messiah complex powered by algorithms, satellites, and memes. Because when Elon Musk speaks, millions listen, not just because of what he says, but because of what we want to believe, that someone is smart enough, brave enough, powerful enough to fix it all. But what if the desire to save the world is really just the deepest form of ego? And what happens when the man who thinks he's humanity's savior starts acting like it without ever asking if we wanted to be saved? This is the psychology of Elon Musk. This is the Messiah complex. What is the Messiah complex? The Messiah complex isn't a medical diagnosis. It's a psychological pattern, a mindset where someone believes they are destined to save others or even the world, often without consent or humility. It often starts with real talent, genius even, but it mutates into something else, a sense of divine purpose, of irreplaceable identity. It shows up in religious leaders, political revolutionaries, and sometimes tech billionaires. The Messiah doesn't just want to help, he needs to be the one who does it. It's not about service, it's about centrality. Because if the problem exists and the Messiah exists, then everything in between must bend to his will. And when this mindset merges with influence, wealth, and followers, it becomes less about saving the world and more about being worshipped by it. Elon Musk doesn't present himself as a businessman. He presents himself as a warning. Earth is doomed, so he must get us to Mars. AI is dangerous, so he must guide its evolution. Free speech is under threat, so he must seize the platform that shapes it. He doesn't just point to a problem, he inserts himself as the only solution. This is the savior script. You create the crisis, then step in as the cure. And it's not subtle. He calls himself the techno king. He tweets memes while laying off thousands. He compares himself to heroes and villains because both are powerful. When critics emerge, they're framed as enemies of progress. When employees resist, they're purged in the name of vision. Everything bends to the narrative. Elon Musk against extinction, against censorship, against stagnation, and always at the center of it is Elon Musk. We've seen this kind of figure before in different historical parallels. Howard Hughes, a genius who tried to control aviation and cinema and ended up isolated, paranoid, broken. Napoleon Bonaparte, a leader who rose as a liberator and crowned himself emperor, who believed he was chosen until the world reminded him he wasn't. Nikola Tesla, a visionary who saw the future so clearly he couldn't live in the present. Each believed their work would save humanity. Each believed they were necessary. Each eventually lost control. The difference today? Elon Musk commands satellites, social media, neuroscience, artificial intelligence. He doesn't just build tech. He builds narratives that millions absorb without question. The deeper question is, what kind of mind begins to believe it is humanity's last hope? The DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, outlines traits commonly associated with narcissistic personality disorder: grandiosity, an exaggerated sense of self-importance, belief in being special, the idea that only they can solve complex problems, fantasies of unlimited power and success, a need for admiration, a lack of empathy for others. You don't need to diagnose Musk to see the pattern: mocking critics publicly, framing himself as a victim of the media, rewriting failures as calculated genius, speaking of humanity like an abstract puzzle rather than a collection of people. The Messiah complex isn't always loud. Sometimes it's methodical. It rationalizes harm in the name of legacy. It reframes dominance as destiny, and it replaces collaboration with control. But why do we follow him? The most unsettling part of this isn't Musk's belief in himself, it's our belief in him. We live in a time of instability. of crisis, of overwhelming complexity. And in times like these, people crave clarity. They want someone to believe in, someone who seems to know what's coming and claims to know what to do. That's how the Messiah complex feeds itself. He believes he's chosen because we act like he is. We amplify the myth, we reward the confidence, and we retweet the vision. And we forget that no one, not even the smartest man in the room, should be beyond question, not because we want them to fail, but because power without friction becomes delusion. Because unchecked brilliance is just as dangerous as unchecked ignorance. Maybe Elon Musk will save us, maybe he won't, maybe he truly believes he must, but history has a lesson for those who worship their heroes. Every Messiah casts a shadow, and the brighter the light, the harder it is to see what burns beneath it. We've seen it before. The emperor who thought he was justice, the scientist who thought he was nature, the innovator who thought he was destiny. Not one of them asked for permission. Not one of them stopped to ask what the world wanted because they were too busy trying to save it on their terms. This is the danger of the Messiah complex, not just in the one who holds it, but in those who follow without question. Because the moment we stop asking questions, the moment we let charisma replace accountability, the moment we confuse vision with virtue, we've already handed over something more valuable than innovation, more powerful than data, rockets, or even AI. At this point, we have handed over our ability to think for ourselves. If this made you think, like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, see you in the next video.